The notebook for this lesson is named MISC File Read Basics. Instead of starting with all the details related to opening streams, we'll begin by showing a very simple example of text file processing. The basic template for opening a text file and reading its content in Python may look something like this. I'm going to copy-paste the code, and let's analyze what happens in this piece of code. First of all, the whole code is enclosed in a try-except block. That's because with file processing, a lot of things may go wrong. A given file may not exist, you may not have access to it, it may be corrupted, and so on. That's why it's always a good idea to use a try-except block and somehow handle the exception. The least you can do is as follows. Here we just print the kind of error that appeared so that the user is able to know what went wrong. Inside the try block, you can see two very important instructions. The first line opens the file by calling the open function with a single argument. This is the most basic version of the open file you can find. The result of the function should be assigned to a variable. Otherwise, you will not be able to do anything with the file handler or file stream, in other words. Then your file processing code begins. It can read the file line by line, it can add new stuff to the file, up to you. We'll add the code in a second. The last line in the try block should be a method named close, invoked on the stream object. It's very important that you close every stream that you open. Otherwise, you may run into memory problems very quickly. Let's try to invoke the code twice. Once with a valid existing file name and once with an invalid name. As you can see, the text file is called animals.txt, and in the same folder where the notebook is located, I have created this file and it has the following content. So now let's see what happens if we try this code. As you can see, with a valid name, we don't see anything in the output. That's because our program doesn't do anything with the file yet. It just opens and closes it. But if we don't see any output, it's actually a good sign. It means that Python successfully accessed the file and successfully created and handled the file. Now let's change the file name to something that doesn't exist and let's see what happens. I'm going to copy-paste the code into a new cell and I'm going to just mess up with the file name. And you can see that Python shows an error. No such file or directory. Alright, it's time to perform an actual operation on the stream. So we are going to copy this cell into a new one, and instead of the comment, I'm going to do the following: print stream read. The read method is the most basic way of reading the content of a file. By default, it returns the whole content of the file, which you can conveniently print to the output. If you want to, you can also specify the number of bytes that should be read, and each byte typically means one character. So another version could be as follows. Instead of just read, we are going to do read 10, and you can see the first 10 characters printed to the output. Once you read the first 10 bytes, the stream moves inside the file. If you invoke read 10 again, you will see the next 10 bytes, so something like this. And what happens when the stream reaches the end of a file? It returns an empty string. We can easily check that by first trying to read a lot of characters, more than there are in the file, and then trying to read another portion. So let's do the following. In a new cell, we are going to do read, 10,000, and then try to read another one. And you can see that first all the text is shown, and then we just have an empty line printed. So note two things. If you ask Python to read more bytes than there are in the file, nothing bad will happen. Python will simply return a string with all the characters in the file, and the pointer in the stream will be set at the very end of the file. So any subsequent read call will just return an empty string. So here, with this method, no error is raised, no exception is shown when you reach the end of the file and you try to use the read method again. We can use these characteristics of the read method to read a text file character by character until the end of the file. So take a look, we are going to copy-paste this into a new cell, and now we are going to do the following. Character equals stream read 1 byte, which typically means 1 character, and while character is not empty, we're going to do print character and finish with a hyphen, and then character will be stream read 1, so the very next character, and let's see what that does. So note what happens here. First, we read the very first byte from the file here. Then, in a while loop, we check if the character is an empty string. We already know that an empty string returned from the read function means the end of the file. So, while the string is not empty, in other words, while there still are some characters in the file, we print the current character, put a dash afterwards, and we read another character from the file. Once we reach the end of the file, we close the stream. This technique of reading a file character by character can be very useful for a variety of situations. For example, you can use it to count the number of characters in a file. Take a look. I'm going to, again, copy-paste it and do the following. So here I'm going to define counter equal to 0. Now I'm going to read 1 byte. And now here I'm going to add 1 to the counter. Print the character again. And here, once the stream is closed, I'm going to do print. And on a new line, number of characters, and here the value of counter. Okay, let's fix the typos. So number, like this. Alright, you can see 103. So here we introduced a counter before reading the file character by character. We increased the counter by 1 every time we read a character, and we printed the total number of characters at the end. Quite smart, isn't it? You can also use this technique to count how many times a specific character appears in a file, how many digits there are in the file, if a given illegal character can be found in a file, and so on. Reading a text file character by character also has another advantage. You protect yourself against corrupting your operating system in terms of very big files. If the text file you're trying to read is a terabyte long file, then trying to read it all at once using the read method without any argument will probably make your program crash. The file is simply too big to be read all at once. In such cases, using read 1 and reading the file character by character protects you against such cases. Another frequently used technique is reading files line by line, not character by character. If you want to do that, you can use method readLine instead of read. It behaves similarly to read when it reaches the end of the file. It returns an empty string. So now take a look. I'm going to use this and do the following. Here, instead of character, we are going to do line, stream, readLine, like this. And now, while line is not empty, counter plus 1, print the line, and line now should equal stream readLine, like this. And now instead of number of characters, we will have number of lines. Let's see how that works. Alright. So here, instead of counting characters, we count the lines. The code looks similar, but instead of using read 1, we use readLine. Note that even though we instruct the print function not to put a new line character at the end of the print invocation, the lines are still shown in the output separated by new line characters. That's because each line read from the file contains a new line character at the end by itself. One more method worth mentioning is readLines with an S at the end. If you invoke this method without any arguments, it reads all the file contents line by line and returns a list of strings, 1 string per file line. Again, if the file you're trying to read is very big, you may run into performance problems. So take a look at the following code. I'm going to copy-paste this one. And here let's get rid of the counter. Here instead of line we'll have lines, read lines. Let's get rid of the loop. And here we'll do print content of the lines var, and let's show lines here. Then we can do the following: print number of lines in the file, and this will be the len of lines. And now we can do the following: for line in lines, print line, and finish it up with an empty string. And at the end we want to close the stream and get rid of this. Let's see how that works in practice. And here the lines variable keeps a list with strings representing individual lines, as you can see here. We first print the whole variable to analyze what it contains. You can see a list with 3 strings. Then we can use a for loop to conveniently print each line. Read lines can also accept an argument with the suggested number of bytes to be read at once. If you have very short lines in your file, each of them 1 character long, using readlines2 will make Python read 2 lines into the list at once. If your lines are 2 characters long, using readlines2 will make Python read 1 line in one go. And if your lines are longer than 2 characters, Python will increase the limit so that at least a single line is read into the list each time. If you get an empty list, it means that you've reached the end of the file. Take a look at this version of the code. Again, I'm going to use copy pasting, and here I'm going to do stream readlines2. Again, let's have a while loop. While len of lines is not 0, for line in lines, print line separator empty string, and then lines again stream readlines2, and we don't need that. And let's just close the stream like this. Let's see how that works. Here we use readlines2 to suggest a reading buffer of 2 bytes. Then, inside a while loop, we check if the number of elements in lines is 0, which would mean that we've reached the end of the file and it's time to say goodbye. But if we still have some elements in the list, we enter the while loop and then use a nested for loop to print all the lines one by one. Afterwards, we call the readlines function again. You may be wondering if this version of the script makes sense. It's more complicated than the version with readline, where we read single lines, because we need to introduce a nested loop here. But there's a good reason to do that. The performance may increase. Typically, reading more than 1 line at a time means better performance, but remember that reading all the lines at once may crash your program if the text file is very big. There is no golden number here, so I can't tell you that you should always read, 10 or 200 lines at a time. It all depends on your operating system, your machine power, and the text file. You need to perform your own experiments to find the best number of lines to read. Finally, there's one more way you can read files line by line. It's actually quite surprising. You may use the stream itself. That's because by default, the stream that you get by calling the open function is an object that is iterable. Iterable objects can be iterated using the for loop, just like sequences. This way, the stream will return another line of the file in each iteration of the loop. And it turns out that you don't even need to close the stream if you use this technique. When you reach the end of the stream with this technique, Python will automatically close the stream for you. All of that means that you can use the following short code. We are going to use the very first cell, copy-paste it into a new one, and we are going to do the following. Get rid of this and do for line in stream, print line, and end it with an empty string. Just like this. Note how short, clear, and easy to read this code is. Again, that's the power behind Python. You can perform many typical tasks very easily because Python has ready-made solutions for you. Reading a file line by line is one of them, as you can see. Alright, that's it for this video. You can now save the notebook and close it.